This episode of the Free Lunch Podcast is brought to you by the Selma Project, an initiative created to infuse hope and inspiration into the youth of Selma, Alabama through culture, art, and entertainment. This initiative calls on friends of the Selma movement to use their gifts and talents to pave a road to success for future generations. Check them out, selmaproject.com, and brought to you by faithful listeners everywhere. And now to the show. Welcome to the New South Movement.
Ladies and gentlemen, a classic.
This love. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Yeah, I chose the path chose me. It's a Lord's plan, divine decree. Natural high, window seat, up a parallel view, let the ghetto see. BK, NOLA, 01 Map, GLD, Amazing Grace. Hater whispers, blah blah blah.
Welcome to the Free Lunch Podcast, home of the New South Movement. I got my man B Jeezy with me. B Jeezy, what's happening?
You already know what it is, Free Lunch Podcast. In the beautiful city of Selma, Alabama, we got a good one for y'all today, man. What's going on with you?
Man, it's 4th of July. What they say? They say when we were growing up, we said we finna go pop them firecrackers. Go get.
Man, you still popping firecrackers? Do you ever get too old for firecrackers?
I don't know. Do you? That's a question for you too. I don't know. I mean, I can't pop them up in the DC area, but I think if I was back in Selma or back in Mobile, I would definitely go purchase some firecrackers. My brother buying some.
Well, Crazy Bill's up and running, so I'm sure they'll be flooded out with people coming in and getting no firecrackers.
Who is the Crazy Bill?
Them Skyrocker. You know Crazy Bill, man. Or do you not know about Crazy Bill?
I do.
Crazy Bill is the company that set up them trailers on the side of the road you get them firecrackers from.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, interesting story. My brother, he installs like phone lines and he's one of the top technicians in Mobile. He had an interesting customer where he had to go essentially install some phone lines so that through one of them trailers so that he can run that credit card. He said he got so many people that he can't use an iPad to swipe. That's too slow. So he needed my brother to run one of them power lines through there. But I say all that to say that it's 4th of July. So to the podcast listeners, BG and I promise you that in year 2 we're gonna have more guests. We're going to look for ways to inspire. We're going to look for ways to inform. And this particular guest that we have, I think is going to be, inspired by the story. It's someone that I know very personally, very close and near the dead of my heart. His story, whether he knows it or not, is one that I'm inspired by. It's one that I look up to and learn from. But more importantly, he's a good person, a good man, really a brother to me, and a great Auburn fan. He's an Auburn fan, loves the Auburn Tigers. Probably know the roster as much as we know, as much as you and I know of BG. So I guess I'm gonna ask the question we're gonna ask him is if they still pop firecrackers. And no further ado, I'd like to introduce the audience. The podcast listeners, someone who I'm proud of to get on this microphone and share his story, the one and only Cook. What up, Cook?
What's going on, man? What's good with y'all?
Man, what an enthusiasm.
I'm in here. I'm rocking with y'all guys.
You rocking with us, man?
I'm always rock with y'all, man.
So where you at? You in the Selma studios today?
Yeah, man. Got a little setup going on up in here. This ain't no Stevie J, but, we doing it.
It's homegrown, baby. Homegrown.
So I got a question for you. In your household, because what the audience gonna find out that you got 3 children, and a wife, and you have how old is CJ? 4 or 5?
5.
CJ 5. Do y'all still pop firecrackers?
We haven't. We've been on a little hiatus from the firecrackers because my wife don't care for them, and then my daughter don't, Jakayla. But CJ, he about that action. CJ and Kia, they about that action. And you know what? I think I might stop by this trailer y'all talking about to see what's popping.
You gonna stop by and you gonna get some of them blackjacks?
I gotta get something.
I know we finna get into the story right quick because I ain't even got a Vine today, man. We're gonna jump right into it. But so we in the middle of July. We on the outskirts of college football. Cook, give me your quick analysis of what you think the Auburn Tigers gonna do this year.
Most of the commentators are, predicting a SEC championship game between Auburn and Georgia. So I'm looking, nothing less than a SEC title at least. Then we can go. Hopefully we can get into the 14 playoff. But I think the defense is gonna be shaped up, and I'm ready to see Jeremy Johnson do his thing.
So you giving us an SEC title this year?
Why not?
Well, there's many question marks on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know. I don't know how the secondary gonna hold up. I have no confidence in our linebacker crew. A lot of questions.
Well,
all this faith is coming from Coach Muschamp.
Well, it's a quarterback lead, man. I think we got the best quarterback from what I've seen so far. I don't know who everybody bringing out as far as around the league and around the country. Ohio State might have the top quarterbacks in the country, but they probably got 3. But I think it's still a quarterback league. Defense gonna hold its own. I think we put up enough points.
So what you think? What you predicting, sir? Give me an early prediction.
Man, I never made prediction because it ain't no telling what's gonna happen once the referee blow that whistle. And with our team, we go either way, man. But I'm kind of optimistic about it because of the new energy, like Cook was saying, quarterback-led league, and we got a good prospect in Jeremy Johnson based off of size and ability, and he's been in the system for a while. So we kind of have an idea of what we're going to get offensively, but defense definitely is a big question mark. But we got Muschamp, so we know he brings some intensity and aggressiveness, and he takes the athletes to the next level. So I'm just going to sit back and wait and see. For the sake of prediction, I say we at least get 8 games for sure.
8? That's low.
I think we'll be
8.
Well, they say promise low and perform big. So if we get 10 wins, we've exceeded expectations. So I'm gonna go with at least 8. And this the first year of the defensive coordinator being there, and we're just gonna ride out. That way I ain't got too much pressure on me when Saturday comes. I'm gonna take it like that. But I'm excited, man. It's gonna be interesting to see this combination of offense with Malzahn and then the expectation on defense with Muschamp. So I'm excited about it, and we definitely need it because we in this dead space with nothing going on. So we hungry for that football.
And this when you talk about it. This when all the experts come out with the predictions and everybody know everything until that first game is played. Like I said, but my only prediction is that when I saw Jeremy Johnson play on ESPNU his last year, his senior high, and he had already committed to Auburn. At that point, I knew that we would win the SEC championship with that guy at the helm. Now, is it going to happen this year? I don't know. But I have gone out on a limb since Jeremy Johnson was a high school senior, and I have predicted that he will bring us an SEC championship before he leaves the plane. And I will stick by that prediction. And that's all.
Here.
Proclaim today. But another college football, because I can go into that I can talk about that all day. Really just wanted to jump right into it, man. We got Cook here on the line. You not no stranger to the microphone, are you? Because you and I, we talk all the time, and you school and educate me on things that I may not even thought about or heard about, and what you having, like I mentioned earlier, you have CJ that's 5. You got the twins. How old is the twin?
They 13.
You got a 13-year-old, and then your wife. Man, you and how old are you, Cook?
I'm 31.
31, man.
Yeah.
You done lived through life and seen some things. So just from your experiences in general, I think it's a lot that you share with me. So that's the reason why we kind of wanted to have you on the show, is because, Gosa, we talk a lot about understanding your journey and going through life and allowing life to kind of teach you on the podcast. Just last week, you and I were doing a recording, and Cook acknowledged, and he listened to the podcast, and he was thankful for the Father's Day card that we had sent. And so for weeks and for months, I've wanted to get Cook on this podcast because I think his story is a story that few people have gone through. And nobody really knows Cook's story. And personally, I think it's one that could actually get on the movie screen and really be one of inspiration. And when you have someone that's in your circle and someone that you know and you grow up with, we talk about the LeBron James and how LeBron put his people on, and for a while, myself and even Cook's wife has encouraged Cook to share his story, and I really felt like this would be a good platform to get Cook on the show. So with that being said, Cook, you listen to the show, right?
Yeah, I listen. Matter of fact, I listened yesterday while I was at work to the rewind of Racism in America.
What you think about that show?
I think it was a good show. I'm pretty much I'm more in line with BG right here as far as y'all discussion. And I think it's because I stay in Millbrook, and Millbrook and Selma, it's pretty much Alabama. Like, you had a different perspective, and I don't think you've been gone a minute, but down here it's a different kind of atmosphere as far as racism. Like you said, BG was telling you yesterday, you more in a metropolitan area. It's a fast moving place up there. They ain't got time to be, hey, let me hate on tight or let me hate on whoever because the color of the skin, because they trying to get that money. But most of the statistics, I believe, say that the rural areas is different than the urban areas. So that's what I think. I'm more in line with the Southern. Don't be fooled. And, so it ain't in your face, but it's down here. You could just see with the latest stuff with the rebel flag and the Supreme Court decisions on on healthcare and same-sex marriage. You can ride around and see the marquees on these churches and stuff. I was in Montgomery the other day, and one man, one woman marquee, putting it in your face or whatever. So you probably won't see that up north because, like you said, you got other stuff to do. And I don't think black people can be racist anyway. But I think that's a one-way street in my opinion. But that.
Joseph, have you ever thought about that? Can black folks be racist?
I mean, we haven't. I don't think historically we've been in the position of race, because you just look at racism or hatred based off of color line, because you just look at the way that we embrace everybody and welcome everybody in. Like we talked about, man, we are welcoming, forgiving. We just a people that's just always open, have historically been a people that have always been open to community and standing by people regardless of what you look like on the color line. Systemically, as African Americans, we haven't even been in the position really to be racist or to be exclusive of things like that, because we've been in the minority seat. So I'm really in agreement with that statement.
Interesting. I ain't even thought about that, but that's the reason why I talked to this guy, because this guy like I'm telling you, this guy schools me plenty of times, and I think that he don't realize how much I gain and capture from him. And he actually has a gift when it comes to articulating and really just being able to share his views and his thoughts. I actually met Cook. I don't know how old y'all were, Cook, when I first met you, but you had to be a toddler. But if you could just kind of get into your views and who you are, I think it'll be an inspiring story. I think you do a good job of communicating to the people and just whatever you feel like share, let the people know, because I want to kind of just go from there, ask a few questions, and then hopefully the story can be inspirational, because to me it has been.
Well, I was embraced by the the McCoy family, which is our family. 3 years old, my mother Joanne Cook and my father Marvin Cook, they adopted me and my sister from a foster home. My sister was 2 and I was 3. And pretty much we grew up in Mobile. I think later on in life, probably when we got a little older, probably about 8 or 9, you know, we knew we was adopted. But
really? So you found out when you was 8 or 9 years old?
yeah, we found out my mama, she pretty much told us pretty early, and my dad, you know, I appreciate that. We were so much ingrained into the family, like it didn't feel that way, you know.
Right.
And we kind of looked like them, so it was just family. You couldn't really tell the difference, and everybody embraced everybody. So I never heard nobody say other than my mother nothing that, hey, y'all adopted. That's from you to any of our cousins or whatever. So it was always been like a brother love or cousin love. So
when I first met you and your sister, like you said, y'all were 3, and I remember, but we never talked about in our family being adopted or coming from someone coming from a foster family or any of that. That was never conversation that was shared. You and I'm gonna call it the Hawk because I don't want to put a name, but I'm gonna say the Hawk. You and the Hawk, we just hung out at y'all house every summer, almost every day, or what have you. So that was never even a conversation.
Yeah, and I think that was a key part of our development as people and as humans, because I mean you see some stories on TV could have been worse, or tension, or who are y'all, and what I'm saying, stuff like that, but it was never nothing like that.
How does that make you feel, or how did that make you feel when Dad and people told you that you was adopted, or did you feel in a kind of certain way, or how does it feel to be adopted?
I didn't really know back then. I always, especially when you 7 or 8, you don't really comprehend adoption or whatever. It was more when we got older we understood, but I know for me and then probably my sister, we kind of just blocked it out, like it wasn't no thing. I rarely even thought about it. It's like this my mom, this my dad, I got their last name. You know what I'm saying? I never seen any kind of like paperwork or anything as far as lead me to somebody else. So it was kind of like, for mentally you knew you wasn't birthed by them, but you really didn't know the difference. For all I know, born. And my mama had me and raised me, because you never knew anything else. Did
you and Lil Cook, did y'all ever talk about it amongst yourselves at all? Or?
Not really. Back then you kind of immature mentally, and you don't even want to think about stuff like that, because you might hurt your mama feelings or your dad's feelings. We never asked about our biological parents or anything like that. And I didn't, when you got older, you really thought about it. But I remember one time when we was probably like 12, I think, they took us to the actual adoption agency, and we met some caseworkers or whatever, and they was just going over, if we wanted to pursue once we got 18 or whatever to find our biological parents. And we pretty much shut that down. We was like, nah, we good, But like I said, you 12 and 13, you like, we good, we straight.
Right.
I'm just interested to know, and I think this will probably be something that we talk about later, is just how that framework in those developmental stages. A lot of what I'm hearing Cook say is like, it was family. I mean, it was basically all the family that he knew, and he was good with that, especially growing up as a kid. And so I guess as we talk about it, it'll be good to see how that development and how those experiences have formed who he is today as a person and as a man, because his story is really a man's story. And I think that's the uniqueness of having him on here today. He said he was 31 and he's a family man. So that'll be good for our audience on both sides, male and female, to hear somebody that's really taking on responsibility at an age where most people are still out there just living their lives fast and not focused on family and responsibility. So he can answer it now, or we can answer it as we go on. But I'm just interested to just see how, that experience growing up has framed who he is today.
Before you even answer that, Cook, I think, BG, we're on a tinkering really on. I told you that this was a unique story. I told you that Cook has a very inspirational story to me, and we're only really tinkering on the outskirts of the climax to the story, and so I do want to hold that question because I think there's a bigger question than the one that you even asked based off of Cook's journey. So Cook, you 12 years old. Y'all go to the agency. Y'all say no, you're not interested. Y'all in middle school at this point, right?
Yeah, we in middle school. We in middle school. Probably sixth grade, and my sister probably in fifth grade, something like that, right around there.
So y'all at GSBC?
Yeah, we at good GSBC, Good Street Baptist.
So y'all say no, y'all don't go, and then you're a middle school superstar. How many points you scoring in the game at GSBC?
Man, hey, I don't want to engage in hyperbole, but sometimes it be. I put it like this: one game, I think I had the flu or something, and I scored the first 5 points of the game, and I end up coming out and going home or whatever, and then the score ended up being like 55-5. So I was that type of player.
I thought Cook was gonna tell us the Michael Jordan story. He caught the flu and went for 50. He went for 5 and went home.
That was just one game, but I used to me and my sister, man, we pretty much dominated. But I ain't gonna sit here and act like it was some high competition out there. I'm from the Parkway. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hooping with people not in my caliber. You feel me?
So Kosa. So it was funny because every pretty much Cook and them, they lived literally around it was a bike ride away. So we would get on the bikes, me and my sister, and we would probably ride over to Cook and them house sometime, and we would play in their backyard basketball, or we would go to BC Rain at the rec center during the summertime, and we would hoop up there. So really, if you're thinking of like distance and location, they lived so close to us. They were a bike ride away or something like that. So the summertime we spent a lot of time together. So we would play backyard basketball, and it would be me and the Hawk, which is how Lil Cook got her name, and it would be my sister and Cook against each other. And we had some backyard battles, sir.
Y'all did?
Man, we did, and I tend to think that those.
No, you was out there playing basketball.
Hey, don't get it twisted.
I ain't never known that to be your sport.
I was out
He
there.
called Malone.
I was called Malone.
Dude, they say you call Malone. You had that old man in the paint game.
Yeah, that's all I did. I just want to back it down. But I say that because this just bringing back memories of how we would get on those bikes and we would go over there and play. And I tend to think that some of those basketball games of competition help develop the game that we see today from Cook. Probably not.
Yeah, it was a little bit of you and Kristen, and we used to have some wars back there in the backyard. But a lot of it, and I tell my kids, a lot of it because we used to go to BC Rain in the rec in the summertime, and you remember back in the day you had the little boy half,
Yeah.
and you had the big boy half, and I look forward to the day that I got to the big boy half. I think I was probably like 13, 14, but hey, that's where the grown men was down there. And you worked on your game on the little boy half, and then when you dominated down there, you want to go down there with with Twin them and all y'all the grown folk.
Kristen played on the big boy half.
Yeah, she used to be down there. Yeah, I used to look up to Kristen, man. Once I beat her, I thought I was the man.
But let's fast forward. So now you done did basketball in middle school. You get to, if you could just continue on the story, because I don't know what grade were you in 90? Was it 97?
In 97, fall of 97, I was in 8th grade.
So let's just fast forward and talk about Dad and your mom and all that.
Yeah, when I was in I believe it might have been the summer of, going into the 8th grade. My mom, she had got sick, and actually we was at the, I believe it used to be called Food World, right there on DIP.
I remember.
We was putting up groceries in the car, and my dad, he had that Grand Marquis, that old brown Grand Marquis.
So it wasn't the white. It wasn't that pearl white Cadillac. Oh, I remember that brown. I remember. Yeah, I remember. Okay.
Yeah, it's that brown Marquis, and we putting up groceries and whatever, and we bagging out the parking lot. We headed back to the parkway, and while we riding in the parking lot, my mama, she was telling us about, I don't know if she was telling us about cleaning up or doing something, and next thing you know, she just started trembling, and the car went into the wheel turn, and finna go out in the road. So I got over there and hit the brake or whatever, put it in park. And I told my sister to stay with mama. So I ran all the way back to the store and trying to use the payphone to dial 911, but I just so happened to see my barber, Mr. Will, and he ended up calling 911 and stayed there with us. And the ambulance came or whatever, and she went to the hospital to see what was wrong or whatever.
So I didn't even know that story. Go ahead.
I think I was probably
you had to be.
It probably was 13, probably 13. Yeah, it probably was 13 or 14, right around there. And even to this day, me and Mr. Will, even though he used to cut my hair, but we got this bond. Like every time I see him, that's what I think about, because it wasn't nobody around. Like it was nighttime, and I was panicking, didn't know what was going on. So that's what that was. But going on to, when my 8th grade year, pretty much my mom was sick that whole year. Right. She had a seizure, which I didn't even know what was going on then. But, through the doctors and the tests or whatever, found out she had a cancerous tumor, on her brain.
Right.
And, through that year and 8th grade year, she was pretty much sick. She went through chemo and all this stuff. They had this surgery and stuff. She had like staples in her head where they removed part of the tumor or whatever.
Right.
And that pretty much went on for about almost a year and a half, 2 years to my all my 8th grade year and all my 9th grade year.
Right. So, like you said, I kind of now that you retell that story, I kind of now do remember, but I did not know the role that you even played in that situation, being able to stop the break, because y'all would have pretty much rolled out into. It sounded like y'all was gonna roll out on DIP.
Yeah, we could have, but I mean, not straight ahead, but the wheel kind of turned, so we was probably gonna go over some grass and even go out on the road. And she wasn't hitting the gas or nothing. So, but I was, conscious enough. But even back then, when we was little, 4, 5, 6, they used to always, every time we got to the top of North Drive, they used to always put us in their lap. Right. And we just try to keep us in the road and all the way to the house and that's how I learned how to drive. I knew how to stop the car, and, I'm older then, I'm an adolescent, so I know how to stop the car, put it in park, and it's just something that's, I bring up, it's touching, man. Like I try not to even think about it sometimes, but, it's a part of life. It's a part of life.
And you just never know. It really just goes around that whole theme with developing skills. Life essentially enables you for tomorrow, and that whole being prepared and not even know that you're being prepared, because at that age, like you say, 13, having to kind of deal with that situation is being heroic even from that perspective is amazing, because first off, that's the only mother that you had known at that point, and so I'm pretty sure you were probably just trying to be the man that you were, and just trying to do whatever it is you had to do. So basically, for 2 years almost, Di was going through, my aunt was going through, and your mom was going through chemo, and she maintained a positive attitude, and she essentially she started juicing a lot. You remember those juices?
Yeah. She's her when she started, recovering a little bit. She's always say she was
100%.
blessed and 100% in the Lord.
100%
So
blessed
yeah, I
in the
mean,
Lord.
so yeah, she started juicing. Man, she used to make us drink that mess, man, like carrots and apples, and man, I couldn't stand it. Like all kind of broccoli, and I mean, it was crazy, man. But she was doing what she felt she had to do to stay on this earth. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, she used to ingrain us in that lifestyle for that that period of time, and still going to church when she could or whatever. So she was a fighter. She fought.
That was the oldest of my mom and all of their siblings, and she was really like our second mom growing up. My second mom. Everybody loved I. We always used to go over to Cootenham House, and like I said, they stayed right around the corner from us. So even from picking us up from school to taking us to Sunday school or church, she was very active in the church that we were attending. She was over. Was she over like the whole youth ministry or something?
Yeah, she was over.
School,
Vacation Bible School.
Yeah.
She pretty much ran that.
Yeah, ran vacation, everything, and so she was like very instrumental. So, long story short, because I know I want to fast forward even to now, but she went through the chemo for 2 years, and then she ended up passing away in what year?
It was 99.
It was 99.
Yeah, it was right after you graduated. It was in June 25th.
June 25th
of 99. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. That sounds right, because I remember 97 and 99 were those years, and so she passed away June 25th, 1999, and that's the reason why I look today, not to fast forward to the end of the, which is really not the end of the story, but to where Cook is today, and the reason why I wanted to kind of pause on the question that you asked earlier, Gosa, because I wanted to add this element to the story. So you have two young people that essentially, as Cook mentioned, were adopted at the age of 2 and 3, and their entire life, I guess, for those, what was that, Cook? So if you was 3 and in 99, how old were you?
I had just turned. No, I was 15. I was 15. Yeah, I had just turned 15.
For those 12 years, essentially, you had whatever died and Uncle Marvin had instilled in you at that age really must have been a lasting and impactful for you, because it's more even to this story from the perspective of how did you deal with those remaining 3 years after the mother that you had known passed. How was that?
I remember the day she passed. Even before then, like, I didn't want to accept it. I remember my dad pulling me in the room, and he was telling me, because over the 2 years she wasn't like talking and stuff like that. It was a process. Pretty much her body was breaking down, over those 2 years. So at the end state, the last couple of months, she went from, she was basically a vegetable, and we had in-home hospice or nursing care or whatever. Even me and my sister, we and my dad, we had to help change her undergarments and stuff like that, because like I said, she couldn't talk. All she could do was pretty much move her eyes or whatever. So but that was the hardest part, just watching her, knowing what she was, and then watching her, break down or whatever.
Yeah, because
and
even though, so basically even those 2 years, because you're right, a lot of it she was at home, staying in the house. So you not only did you have to deal with the after death situation, but you also had to deal with the the 2 year seeing your mom in pain and suffering.
Yeah, and you used to her doing certain things, and like, cause even my ninth grade year, I was kind of excited it was gonna be my first public school. So we was in private school from the time we was 3 all the way to 8th grade,
Right.
And I knew I was going to BC Ryan with my big cousin,
That's
so
me. That's me, BG. That's me.
So I'm excited, but I wish she could have took me. Actually, your mother is the one who took me to register for BC Ryan my 9th grade year.
Really?
So yeah, she took me and I came home and telling my mom different type of stuff of what's going on, and then she was sitting in the bed then, and like I said, probably about halfway through my 9th grade year, she ended up in a wheelchair. She couldn't walk, but she could still talk. Then from there, it went from she couldn't talk or walk, and then they brought the hospital bed inside the house or whatever like that, and it went from there. And then the day she died, being in 9th grade, I didn't pass algebra all the way, and when I look back on it, I was going through a lot back then, and just rebelling or whatever with the teacher, Miss Guy, Miss Guy.
Oh, it was Miss Guy. It was Miss Guy. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because I was in honors class, but I was going through stuff back then, mom sick or whatever, and not to make any excuses, but when I look back on it, I could have passed the class, but I ended up having to go to summer school, and I wanted to play football. So, in order to play football, I had to go to summer school. So the day she passed was the first day of summer school. And if you miss one day of summer school, you can't go. So, I even think about that. Like everybody, my mom just passed. And man, the whole first day of summer school, like I was just like in a daze or whatever. And, my dad had to talk me into going, because he was telling me, your mama, if you want to play, we got this back here, because he knew where I was going, you know what I'm saying? But I could have just said, I ain't going, I'm staying here. And then, my life could have been changed because I met people on the football team that I still talk to today. But, that's just another part of what happened. But, after she passed, the feeling was, it was tough, man. Like, 'cause you used to, and I ain't never seen my daddy cry till that day, like at the funeral. Right, so, and that showed me a lot right there. Like, 'cause man, my daddy, like, he was tough when we were growing up. I mean,
I know.
he worked at the mill, you know what I'm saying? So he didn't play no games. Right. So, mama didn't play no games either, but mama's gonna be mama. Everybody gonna run to their mama. But he was in pain and I remember looking at him in the funeral and he was crying. I was like, man, if he in pain, I know it's bad. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So after that, fast forward to like the last 3 years of my life, it was pretty much no really direction, I don't think, when I look back on it, because, mama was that structure. And she graduated from college. She was the one about education and this and that. When I look back on my life, I probably could have did so much better in high school than if she had been there, with the structure, even with girls and stuff like that. I mean, just so much stuff that I know probably wouldn't have been like that if she had been there, because she was like that direction or whatever. Just I think I would say unstructured, like pretty much, because my daddy, he was going through some pain too, and I didn't realize this until I even got older. Like, 'cause sometimes my dad was still working, then he stopped working, and then he going through his little pain or whatever. So pretty much me and my sister, we was just like, it was like everybody was doing their thing, and it wasn't any kind of.
Everybody was still at that place where it was kind of confusion, no structure, just trying to figure out.
Yeah, because you used to get meals and stuff, every evening, mama cook, and now that ain't the case. Used to somebody waking you up every Saturday morning telling you to clean up, and that wasn't the case. I mean, just that structure, like, I mean, I never stayed out past a certain time, you know, even though I was in high school, so I would have a little more freedom, and my mom was here. But you know, if you doing certain stuff that you know you wouldn't be able to do if your mom was here. Like, you know, I'm out at nighttime hanging with people. It was just like you said, everybody was just like, man, and didn't know no direction, no structure, and you just had to figure it out.
Right. So, Ghost, got anything you want to add, say?
Man, just keep going, man. This story is full. Even we only got to about high school now. It's so filled with what life is, and I just wanted to learn more about this because it's a strong story. So keep going.
So Cook, you make a decision, and you finally make it to a senior. You about to graduate. You graduate, which I am interested in hearing how you felt about that graduation and your mom not being there, what have you. But also you mentioned playing sports. You know, you started playing football on the football team and was a starting cornerback, and at one point you were even leading the city in interceptions, I believe. You were almost a shutdown corner at one point. Can you talk about that and then really get into college? Because I don't know why or how you even went about the college process, because you had very little direction even from that perspective. I think I might have been a model. You seen us go to college, but it really just circles back around some of the conversation that you and I have about following your passion and had you followed your passion, et cetera. So can you kind of just take us through your senior year process and finishing school, how graduation was, and then going into college?
As far as the football games and stuff, you miss your mom there, and I remember her when I played at Tramiel Park. You know, she used to come to the games and stuff like that.
Didn't you lead the city in interceptions at one point?
Hold on, man. I got a question. He brought up, I just heard him say Tramiel Park, and I know you done wrote a blog about Tramiel Park, and everybody talk about how real it was at Tramiel Park and all that kind of stuff. So my question is, did it really go down at Tramiel Park like Tight said it did?
Hey, that Tramiel Park was legendary. Legendary. I mean,
on the Parkway,
the Parkway, every Parkway legend played at Tramiel Park. I mean, if you was anything about anything, you played at Tramiel Park. Like, that's where it all started. It was like the Rucker for us.
If you grew up on DIP, you played
at
Tramiel
Park. That's everything. Baseball, anything. Basketball, everything was at Tramiel Park. But I don't know if I led the city in the league. I know I had multiple interceptions. I don't know who was. Yeah, I think I had like 3 or 4 my senior year.
But at one point you had like 3 in like the first 3 games or something. But anyway, go ahead. So it's senior year.
Yeah. And me and my wife, we reflect on this all the time because we talk about her high school. And, because I think she graduated number 4 or 5 in her class or whatever. But she had the direction that I was missing. My daddy, he didn't go to college. He went to trade school. So, this is how bad the direction was. I didn't even fill out my FAFSA until I had already done a whole semester in college before I even filled out a FAFSA form. I didn't know what a FAFSA was.
Can you do that?
Yeah, and I had a bill, a big bill. I mean, it was crazy.
But I mean, you fast forward to college. But how was high school graduation day though? You didn't have your mom. How was that?
Oh yeah. That was a little emotional because the last graduation I had was when I was in 8th grade, and I remembered it to the day. Like, she had a video camera, and our class song was a song for Mama. It had Soul Food had just came out. And so, man, she was balling, man, like, recording and balling at the same time. And I remember how she looked. She didn't have any hair, so you could see she was going through something. And that's the last thing I remember. All the classmates in 8th grade, we handed our mother roses or whatever. So, I was balling, she was balling. So, at my senior year, I reflected back to that, like, and you know what, to true be told, when I think about my graduation, at South Alabama, was where we graduated the middle center. And what really got me through it was like I seen Aunt Nene, I seen your mama, you know, I seen Aunt Faye, like everybody was in the crowd, and it was just like, you know, I had a bunch of mamas there, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I didn't really get too emotional because I was so happy to see there and everybody came and like, you know, everybody come to see you. So it was a big deal, you know. Everybody was handing me money and stuff, you know.
Right.
It was real love, and I knew that, you know, my mama probably would have been there in spirit or whatever. So, you know, just to see Aunt Faye, Aunt Nene, Aunt Francis, your mama, you know, Aunt Mary. So it was just like love, and that's what I needed, you know what I'm saying, at that day, especially that day, you know. So I really didn't reflect on it like I probably think about it now, as far as, you know, in the moment. You know, I was just like, man, everybody here to see me, my aunts, you know, people who I love, they here, so they trying to get me through it, and I got through it.
Right. So now you, so you in college, you haven't even filled out a FAFSA form, and you trying to major in computer science or software. What was it? Computer science.
Well, I thought I was doing computer information systems. Is what I thought I signed up for, and then like this all tie into, you know, my mother went to college. She knew what financial aid was. She knew all this stuff, and you just, you know, you don't have that direction. And I don't know anybody to talk to for real other than you. And, you know, you doing your thing. Everybody doing their thing. Ain't got time to be like getting a crash course on everything at that time. But I thought I was majoring in CIS, and come to find out, I done went a whole semester, and I'm like, I got my I don't know what I got, my printout or something. I've been in business administration almost a whole year. Didn't even know I was in business administration, you know. So I ended up having to change advisors and go through all that mess. But even back to high school, like I took the ACT one time, you know, I made a 19, and that was my senior year. Like, who do that now? I don't know. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew if my mama had been there, I would have been taking it 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, you know what I'm saying? Right. And, you know, just no direction or whatever. So really you just raising yourself, kind of like you just, hey, whatever happened.
Right. So you in college, and a lot of people don't know, even at that point, it became a point to where you, I don't know if you were still taking classes at the time, but you ended up staying and pretty much living with, not having a place to stay, right, and living with some of your close friends and some of the guys that played on the BC Rain football team, right?
Yeah. Reason I went to college, the way I went is because, you know, one of my friends, my good friends, I just follow him up there because, you know, you want to be in a comfort zone or whatever. And once again, that goes back to my mom, you know, pretty much not having no structure. You know, I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know what I wanted to be in life, you know. So I just went with whatever. Pretty much my first couple years in college was just like an extension of 12th grade. So, but yeah, I end up, because of, you know, the FAFSA situation, and because I didn't really have no, you know, steady habits that were conducive to higher learning. It didn't work out. I just want to stay up there and kick it, you know what I'm saying? So, and I didn't have nothing back in Mobile. So, you know, I ended up staying with some of my friends and just, you know, sleeping on couch, whatever.
You were living pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, I had a little job at Captain D's or whatever, but, you know, I ain't know, when I think about them days, like, man, I was like, man, what was I doing? You know what I'm saying? But it shaped me to who I am today, you know. I always think of, would I change anything, you know? And that's a deep question to me, because, like, would you bring your mom back, even though you up to this point, you done got to a place where you feel like you doing something with your life and you successful? Like, would have been different if my mama would have been here, but it would, you know, you don't know the changes that could could have took place, would I still have the same wife? You know, would I still, you know, so would I change anything? I doubt it right now, just because like I'm here, you know what I'm saying?
I got a question. So at this stage in your life, and I think we kind of got to like high school and college making this transition. Where's your faith right now? Spiritually, are you there? Are you without it? Like, are you questioning higher being? Where are you at that stage in your life?
Good question. 'Cause
Man,
you grew up in the church.
Yeah, this is a man. Let me think about what I'm finna say. If you knew my mother and my you know tight mama, but like they Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you know. So I grew up in the church. You know, I remember one time getting whooped with a spoon full of pancake batter because I didn't get up on time when my mom told me to get up. It was Sunday morning, you know, you gotta get up. Back then, and this is why this sound kind of how I feel now. It started back then, like at one point, you know, I was like, man, my mom used to do this, do that, and she ain't here. Like, you know, what God do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, this the person, I don't know anybody other than her who do as much for her faith, and you know, she was one of the first members of Living Word Christian Center, where pretty much our whole family go. You know,
literally one of the first members. So my aunt was literally one of the first members of now this mega church in Mobile. So she was almost like, she was one of the people that attended this church, and they would have it in small rooms, and now they got multiple services making millions of dollars.
Yeah. And it's just like at that point, after high school, I didn't really even think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't just like, because even now, after my mom passed, like I didn't go to church really like we should have, you know, if she had been there. So really, and fast forward to today, that's how I feel now. I'm like, man, sometimes I even think about it. I'm like, man, it's one of the most faithful followers, you know what I'm saying, did everything right, and you get a brain tumor or you get cancer. Like, to me, that's just like, it's bull to me, but that's how I felt at the time. You know, now I'm just like, whatever, you know. Some people, you know, I'm in the South, so, you know, in the Bible Belt, but as far as my faith, that pretty much shaped me, because, you know, I'm learning then. And then when I got to college, I didn't even think about faith. I didn't think about, you know, church or prayer or, you know, reading the Bible. The stuff I know now is what I learned, you know, from 3 to 12 or 3 to 13. I remember, you know, I was one of them ones who you remember in Kingdom Academy on Sunday morning. You know, I could you know, you remember back in the day, everybody used to try to pray the best. You know,
yeah.
Remember, like I was one of them guys. Like, you know, they asked me to pray, or you know, I knew all the books of the Bible, you know, in order and all that stuff like that. So you felt like you were doing something. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I used to say my prayers every night, all that good stuff. But you know, I'm not right there now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just pretty much whatever.
I appreciate you answering that question too, but and kind of why I asked that is just like that's a real thing, and I think we all kind of get to that place where certain things happen in our lives and certain circumstances, and it's like, well, man, how could that happen when I'm so faithful and I'm so prayed up and I'm doing all these things, and then something still happens that's kind of adverse to our situation, and so we all faced with asking that question and our faith being challenged. So I appreciate you answering that question in a very real manner.
You ditched the school thing, and when did you decide to join the military?
Well, my sister, you know, she joined the year before I did. She joined the Air Force Reserve, and you know, that pretty much. I seen how she was doing in life and stuff like that. You know, she was going to drill or whatever, making money. And, you know, pretty much my first semester really kind of messed me up financially as far as my tuition because I had a bill, and pretty much they let me go to school. Basically, they put that first semester on second semester, and they just kept moving it back. So, you get to a point where, and I met my wife in 2003 at the school, and we pretty much called it, me and you together probably around 2004, 2005. And so, and even before then, when we was just dating or kicking it or whatever, she pretty much kind of helped shape, how I feel about certain stuff today. I mean, she got me to talk more than I ever talked.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to talk about Kayla when we get to that, to your married life, because the role that she played and the person that she is phenomenal. And and even from her story, I admire her because even your two oldest kids, for you, those are not your biological kids either, but they're still your children, and you raise them and treat them just like that. So even from that perspective, man, she's an amazing woman. So you go off to college. You go off to the military. Did she the one that encouraged you to go to the military?
No, she supported me.
Or was it your homeboys?
Oh, well, they wasn't. Matter of fact, they wasn't even there at the time because they had matter of fact, they had military obligations, so they even left the school. They wasn't there, but she supported me. She never told me, yeah, do this. Then I was 22, and I'm like, I love this girl. I love her kids. So I need to put myself in a position, and then I got, financial obligations. I need to put myself in a position to take care of that. And, I joined the National Guard, and, they was at the time, the war had kicked off. I think the war was probably like 3 years in. I'm talking about direct war. And, they was giving $20,000 for people to join, you know what I'm saying? So I took advantage of that opportunity. And then, thinking I was going to pay my debts, which I did. And then, I'd be in a situation where I could, take care of some other stuff and benefits and stuff like that. So I did that. And I came back, and I attempted to. I didn't come back and go right to school. I actually, started working at the Department of Corrections or whatever. And we pretty much went from there. So it was pretty much a financial benefit, and it was benefit, and just knowing that I wanted to start a life with my wife. So I needed to shape up, basically.
So you joined the military. That started shaping you up. You got married in what year?
I got married the next year. I joined the military June 21st, 2006, and I got married on September 7th, 2007. And actually, when I got married, that's when probably a couple weeks later, I actually had to leave and go to Iraq.
Yeah, so you left and went over, did some stunts in Iraq. You've been in North. Where were you at? North Korea or Vietnam? Which one were you? You were in North Korea, right?
I was in South Korea, last year.
Okay. So let's just fast forward now. Now you and your wife been married. You have, who I think she's an amazing woman. I don't think she really knows how much I value her. Can you talk about the role your wife played and what made you reach out to your biological mom?
Well, my wife, she pretty much played the whole role at first, It was around the time, it had been 2011. CJ, my son, was born April, actually 2 days after mine, April 17th, 2010. And, even then, I'm not thinking about my biological parents at all. I'm living life or whatever. So, it comes upon a time, you got to take your child to, the doctors and stuff after they've been born for a certain amount of time, So that's what happened. And we get to the doctor, and, they asked all the family history questions, and my wife, she knows her family, so she's like, heart disease, no, blah, 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 no. When they ask me, I'm like, I don't know. Because, in my mind, I know, my mother and my father, we don't share the same blood or DNA, because I believe hypertension could be hereditary. So, and then my wife, she was like, enough of this. If anything, we need to find out just because of CJ. So, and she didn't tell me that at the time, but one day I'm outside, I'm playing basketball with my the oldest, the twins, Jakayla and Jaquel, and next thing you know, my wife come outside with a laptop to my she done Google my name. I think Google Chrome had just come out and I don't know what was going on, but she Googled my name and sites come up where people trying to find, Reginald and, my sister. And then she, doing her investigative journalism, I guess. I think she thought she was on Vice on HBO. but she did research, and I mean, she like you said, she amazing, man, because like that was in the morning time. We was in Camden at my in-laws, and that was sometime that morning. Man, by the time nightfall hit, like I was talking to somebody that was in my family. I didn't talk to my biological mother then, but I talked to her sister, and and this other stuff that happened in between. And like she called several people. She called an agency, the website, and they linked us up with different people. And I think she talked to 2 or 3 people till she actually got to my Aunt Tammy, which is my biological mother's sister, and it went from there. And I got a hold to my wife. She actually got the number to my biological mother's phone number, but come to find out, they was kind of, some people were in the was kind of skeptical because of what happened previously. Right. And long story short, somebody basically they got catfish before catfish came out by some people, a guy and a girl, pretending to be me and my sister, ended up actually moving in with my grandmother, biological grandmother, and they thought they was us, and getting money from them and stuff like that. And so this was years before they even met us. So when I come around, they skeptical of me. They like, oh no, last time, So even after that same day, I didn't talk to my mother until like 2 or 3 days later, just because, it was a touchy subject for them because they had been, like I said, somewhat catfished or whatever. And I think the people end up leaving or whatever. I don't know if they faced any charges or whatever, but that's what happened with that. So, even when the relationship first starting off, it's kind of like, I don't know you and you don't know me, and who are you and what you want.
Trying to fill each other out. So you meet. So you finally, your wife, who, like I said, she's an amazing person. She reached out. She encouraged you to reach out to your biological mom. You made interactions with her. How has that relationship grown today?
Well, it's grown. Let me say one more thing before I get to that. Well, my wife, man, like I always say, she tough, man. She she from Wilcox County, so she don't play no games. So even before, when every person she talked to, it was like she was my agent. Like, and because she know my story, she know what I done been through. Like, even before anybody that talked to me, she told them, and she don't mix no words. She was like, hey, this my husband. You ain't finna do this. You ain't finna do that. And cause she know I'm a little more emotional than she gets sometimes because of what I done been through. Oh, yeah. And so she laid the table for everybody. And that's even with my mother. She was like, hey, this and that, so I appreciate that. But forward to the relationship, man, it's awesome, man. Like, I mean, like I said, for a long time, man, like I think I needed a mother even just a figure, you know what I'm saying? But it's awesome to when you get older, you know, you want to know where you come from. Even after I had CJ and my wife brought me the computer and told me, you know, this and that, and I was like, you know what, you right. So I actually reached out, and as far as my emotions, I'm wide open, you know. I'm like, hey, I want to get to know this person. I want to love this person, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's been great ever since, you know. I met her in Gulfport one day, and I mean, we done had a bond since then. I mean, and the thing about her, she loved, you know, Jacayla and Jaquel just like she loves CJ, you know. So, and I mean, her and my wife, they got a good relationship. They always talking, and I mean, it's just a good relationship, and I don't apologize for that. You know what I'm saying? You know, some people like, hey, you know, maybe you feel like you being disloyal to my parents who raised me or something like, well, which I'm not. You know, it's just like, I think I deserve to know who these people are, what happened. You know what I'm saying? And I got pieces of that story. That's a whole nother topic. But you know, I ain't even been poking and prodding her for an answer, because she just excited. Even when she first seen me, like, she was bawling. And you know what I'm saying? I haven't seen nobody cry for me like that, you know, in a long time. So, you know, I'm open to it. So, and she ain't asked me for nothing, you know what I'm saying? So it's just a mutual relationship. And I mean, I call her mom, and, you know, she called me son, and that's what it is.
Do your biological family, are they in this area, or are they in a different state?
Well, my mother actually stays with my other sister, in Miami. But and the one reason I knew something was weird, because when I first seen my birth certificate, it said Dothan. You know, I was like, Dothan? I ain't never been to Dothan. But pretty much that's where my mom grew up, and I done been down there and met some people. Well, I met my grandpa, grandma, aunties, and stuff like that, and everybody, they still down there in Dothan. So, yeah.
You ain't got nobody in Abbeville, do you? Which is right next door to Dothan. Okay, good. Okay, good.
I know where you going with that, BG. So
exactly.
But
Cook,
you know,
yeah, we might be related.
Cook, did you ever meet your biological father?
I haven't met him yet. We actually when my wife talked to him one time, we actually called him because we couldn't get a hold to him. She called him at his she found out he works down there in Dothan at a plant, and called him. But we all right now. But like at first, he was like kind of like, and I understand, you know, if I was him, you know, I'd be saying the same, probably thinking the same thing. But he was more like hands off. He was like, hey, blood test this, blood test that. So I was like, you know, I ain't rich, but I'm making money. You feel me? So I'm like, I don't need nothing. You know, I was just trying to say what's up. But we talked after that, and you know, he kind of apologized for how he came across at first, and we don't talk all the time because you know, he has a wife and a family. And, you know, I don't know how she feel about it. I never talked to him. I text him every now and again, tell him happy birthday or happy Father's Day or whatever, stuff like that. But nothing major.
Man, this has been a show, dude. I got BG asked the question earlier. Given what you just told us, Cook, how did you get to this point? How have you been able to overcome adoption, to losing your mother, to essentially living from house to house, going to military, finding your biological parents? How have you done this, and how have you been able to stay steadfast and continue to be a man and be a father to CJ and to Presh and Kale and love your wife?
You know what? I don't know exactly. I never really even thought about it. Like I told you before, when we was talking about this, like Man, I'm just a guy, man. I'm just a dude. Like I don't think it's special. I think like, it's just like life or whatever. But y'all help me to see like everybody don't go through this. But like to me, I'm just like, man, it's one day at a time. But I'm my personality, I'm kind of laid back and I take it as it comes. And the long story is I would say I made it because from the time I met my wife to now I would say is my wife. But before then I would say, it was y'all, man, the tights, the Christians, the Ronas, the Shantays, my Aunt Faye, all them. I mean, it was y'all, like, because y'all held us down. I mean, from 14, 15, all the way till I got to, it's kind of like my family bridged the gap to my wife, and my wife, she took the torch and, she ran with it. Because without, so I would say that, I'm not the guy to be like, I stayed prayed up and all, and, I'm not that guy. I'm just the guy to be like, hey, tangible stuff, tight, Aunt Mary, what I'm saying? My homeboys, my family and my dad, just my sister, especially, like, I mean, like, you know how you have your sibling rivalries and stuff when you growing up. Like me and my sister used to wrestle and everything, but like, man, like now, like that's my homie, that's my best friend. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much, she got me to that point. You got me to that point. So I all y'all could take a bow for that. And then I didn't lose y'all. And when I met my wife, it just added to something great. And then that's how I made it. And I'm here.
Gosa, you got anything, man?
I got a lot. It just sitting here because a lot of this stuff, I didn't know.
Like I know this stuff, and so with me knowing this stuff and seeing Cook walk through it, for me, it's like as he's walked through this stuff, I'm like, man, this is an amazing story that actually, like, I'm serious. Like this could literally be on a big screen and could be told from a perspective that is very inspirational, and I think it's a story that needs to be heard. That's the reason why I've pressed, and his wife has pressed for him to get the story out. But I'm interested, BG, to hear from you too, because this is your first time. You did not even know any of this.
It's a lot, man. It's so many layers to it, and I think we really just kind of scratched the surface on it. But you hear so many elements of, like we keep talking about, life. Growing up and certain things happening that you don't have any control over, but you just got to go with it. But then you lean on your family and your community to help you, to teach you these lessons and facilitate your process. And then he gets to a point of adulthood, and he actually used a great term. He like handed off the torch.
Oh,
it's
that
like
was
you get all these lessons as a kid, and as a young man, your family does all this kind of stuff. Then you get to a point the way you kind of, move away from your family, and then you meet somebody that picks up, that shares those same values, and that is totally committed to you and has got your back. And he, like he said, she'll stand in and intercede. Like, this my husband, and I'm gonna ride for him like he gonna ride for me. And there's certain things that you not gonna do, man. So in the midst of all of, the adversity, you get these things or these results at the end that help you get to the next phase. And I think for me, the biggest thing that I got from it is this manhood walk is just to put yourself in a position to have a spirit, because he got to have a certain kind of spirit to even be open to some of these things. Because you tell a story that this guy as a young kid just dealt with being in the foster system and having to process being with a family that's not your biological family, but accepting the fact that they gonna take care of me as if they were my biological. There's so much maturity in that, man. And then on the flip, it's just the community thing. It just ain't no individual story. He named about 8 different people that he called right now that had an impact on his life. And that's where we stand. You never know how much your words, how much your actions will mean in a person's life. And I just appreciate Cook coming down, and riding with the Free Lunch podcast, being a supporter. And I just want to hear more of this story, man, because it's really a manhood story that we don't get a lot of. mass media don't give us a story coming from the black community, from a black man perspective. So to hear somebody come in, young man, responsible, has family, and really understands what it means to take responsibility and do what you need to do to empower your folks, the people around you, we got to have more of it. So I'm filled today. Like the folks in church say, my spirit has been filled today.
But what you don't even know, and the key takeaway, and we may have to have Cook back on the show, is the way he raises his children. And when I tell you he's old school and he's non-tolerant, but he's loving at the same time, you'll be amazed. Because like you mentioned, even though the twins aren't his biological kids, they call him dad. They call him father. And he treat them and raise them like that. And they are his children. And that's the way he treats them, and that's the way he refers to them. And it's amazing, dude. I'm telling you, it's inspirational to me, because I use his model as my example, because I don't have a wife or have kids of my own, but whether you believe it or not, and it's so funny because Cook will say he gets inspired by us, by me or my brother, or by even you, BG. He'll say he gets inspired by us. But on the flip side, he don't even realize how inspired I am by who he is, because of what he's overcome and who he's become and how he raises his family. So it's so much more to this story, and there's so many levels, like you always say, BG. There's so many levels to this thing that, man, just the way he raises his family. And for him to be able to take those tangible things that he learned along the way and apply them, man, it's a blessing, man. It really is a blessing. And Cook, man, I really mean that from the bottom of my heart, man, that you truly do inspire and bless me, man. So I really appreciate you being on the show. What would you like to say, or what lasting thoughts would you like to leave the people? Because it's your show.
Well, I just want to thank y'all for having me. It's been a long time. I know you've been asking me a lot. And, you know what I'm saying? I've been having, situations or whatever, but them just excuses, So I'm here. Like you told me the other day, sometimes you got to get it done. And so, I made time out today. I'm off today. But I appreciate y'all having me. And, the lasting impact, I guess, would be just, life tough, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, life tough. Either you gonna get with it, or you can fall in the trap, man. I like even last night I had my kids, and I make them watch it all the time. We was watching Beyond Scared Straight, and those kids, I could have been one of them. They no father. You know what I'm saying? And even my mother, what if she had kept me? She had 2 other children behind, me and my sister. So what would that have been like? 4 kids, that could have been poverty, you know what I'm saying? So I ended up going to private schools, good education. I had what I wanted, you know what I'm saying? Nice house, So I'm just happy, I was in the situation I was in, and I tell my wife all the time, it could have been worse.
But you know what's interesting that you just said about that? Perspective. Look at the perspective you even brought to that situation. And I think a lot of that has to do with our thought process and who we become. Because, again, you looked at it from the perspective that, hey, had I not been adopted and had the life that I've gone through, I still could have been raised by my biological mom in poverty, and who knows what that situation would have brought. So I think that perspective has a lot of meaning and symbolism behind it that I admire as well.
It's a love story when people open up their space and open up their hearts and let their spirit shine through. Amazing things happen, and it creates this cycle. People do for you, create an environment and you understand certain things, you feel obliged or obligated, I should say, to do the same thing when it's your time to give back. And that's what we preaching more of, man, is keep that cycle of positivity going.
BG, how can the people reach us?
Man, you can reach us everywhere. FreeLunchPodcast.com for podcasts and blogs. Also check us out on Instagram, Free Lunch Podcast, and on Twitter. Let us know what you think about this episode and all of the other ones, Free Lunch Pod C. And be sure to look out for that Free Lunch TV on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channels. Tell us what you think.
Cook, when the people reach out to you, sir? You got
Well,
at least
you know, I'm
give
on
your-
the social media.
Yeah, give
I dabble a little. You can reach me on Twitter at Reggie Baby, RIGGIBABI, and same thing with Instagram, and Facebook is just Reginald on Cook Senior, because I got a junior, so I'm a senior.
All right, so man, I hope the listeners enjoyed this story. I hope that you were able to take some away from it. Cook, man, appreciate you coming on the show. May look for another way to have you back, but I encourage you to continue to tell that story, man, because people need to hear it and it needs to be told. I think you got a bright future in radio or inspirational speaking coming up real soon. So we out of here. Free Lunch Podcast, home of the New South Movement.
Let's go, let's get it. Let's go, let it go now. Let it go, let's get it. Get it, got 'em. Let's go, let's get it. Let's go, let it go now. Let it go, let's get it. Super mathematics, not a problem, no not for that old block. So sign away for that bull rock. Super small, handcrafted art design, no they know not. Flow tougher than tough time. Blacker than the gram, they drum line. No overdose, I'm overwoke. I'll be awake for crunch time. Be everywhere like sunshine. I leave right cross. Punchline, I beat the track. I eat the track. Brown paper breakfast. Lunchtime, dinner date, dessert tray. Ramadan, flow hungry. You see the sign between the line. It's G's only. No dummies, I flow lovely. They go nutty. They catch a feeling. These hoes touch. Yeah, I tell that jump off. No bunches. No awakening. Home study. But you so pretty. Bless your soul. Sometimes the best way to touch them. Stand and go. Let's go, let's get it. Let's go, let it go now. Let it go, let's get it. Get it, got 'em. Let's go, let's get it. Let's go, let it go now. Let it go, let's get it. Mathematics, before I chose the path chose me. This is a large plan, divine decree.